People think extreme wealth is just a bigger version of ordinary success, but what if it follows a different moral physics altogether? John D. Rockefeller is often introduced as the greatest capitalist who ever lived, a man whose fortune built modern America. Yet buried beneath the celebration is a darker puzzle. How did one man become both a symbol of ruthless greed and sincere charity at the same time? Tonight, we are not asking whether Rockefeller was good or evil. We are asking how extreme wealth reshapes morality itself, and why his story still quietly governs the world you live in. To understand the mystery, we need to step back into 19th century America, a country exploding with oil, railroads, factories, and ambition. The United States had no clear rules for corporate power, no antitrust teeth, and very little sympathy for workers crushed by industrial speed. Money moved faster than ethics, and success was measured almost entirely by expansion. Into this chaos stepped a quiet, deeply religious bookkeeper from Ohio who believed order was the highest virtue. Rockefeller did not dream of oil empires as a child. He dreamed of balance, efficiency, and control. That difference matters, because it shaped everything that followed. Rockefeller was born in 1839 to a morally confusing household. His mother was devout, disciplined, and obsessed with thrift. His father was a charming con man who sold fake cures and vanished for long stretches. From this contradiction, young John learned two lessons. Money must be controlled, and trust is dangerous. When oil was discovered in Pennsylvania, Rockefeller saw not romance, but arithmetic. Refineries were inefficient, prices unstable, and competitors emotional. He believed chaos was sinful, and he believed consolidation was moral. This belief would justify almost every decision he later made. The rise began quietly. Rockefeller entered oil refining rather than drilling, focusing on the unglamorous middle where profits hid. He cut costs obsessively, negotiated brutal railroad rebates, and reinvested every dollar. His company, Standard Oil, did not win by innovation alone, but by endurance. When competitors struggled, Rockefeller waited. When prices collapsed, he bought. Each acquisition made the next one easier, creating a feedback loop of power. By the 1880s, Standard Oil controlled roughly 90% of American refining. This was not an accident. It was a system. Here is where the moral darkness deepens. Rockefeller believed he was saving society from wasteful competition. In his mind, bankrupting rivals was not cruelty. It was purification. Yet for thousands of small operators, Standard Oil meant extinction. Independent businesses collapsed, workers lost jobs, and entire towns became dependent on one corporate master. Rockefeller rarely appeared in public, but his decisions echoed everywhere. The same efficiency that lowered kerosene prices also crushed economic freedom. Wealth, at this scale, stopped being personal. It became structural. The breaking point came when the public finally noticed. Journalists like Ida Tarbell exposed Standard Oil's secret deals and predatory tactics in painstaking detail. Her writing reframed Rockefeller from disciplined genius to monopolistic threat. The government responded slowly, but pressure mounted. In 1911, the Supreme Court ordered the breakup of Standard Oil under antitrust law. On paper, it looked like justice. In reality, something stranger happened. Rockefeller became even richer, because he owned shares in every new company created from the split. This is the paradox of extreme wealth. The system tried to punish Rockefeller, but the architecture of finance rewarded him instead. The fallout taught a dangerous lesson to future tycoons. Regulation could be absorbed, even profited from if you were large enough. Rockefeller retreated from business and turned publicly toward philanthropy. He funded universities, medical research, and global health campaigns. Millions were saved through his foundations. Yet critics asked an uncomfortable question. Was this redemption or reputation management after extraction? Rockefeller himself believed wealth was a trust from God and charity a duty. He gave away more money than most nations spend. But the moral tension never resolved. His philanthropy addressed symptoms, not systems. Workers still lacked power, monopolies kept forming, and inequality widened. The fixes were generous, but incomplete. They treated damage without dismantling the machine that caused it. Rockefeller had mastered efficiency, but morality at scale proved harder to engineer. To fully grasp the origins, we must examine Rockefeller's inner accounting of sin and virtue. He kept ledgers not only of money, but of behavior, recording mistakes and self-corrections with the same rigor he applied to costs. This practice reinforced a belief that morality could be optimized like a process. If waste was evil, then eliminating competitors was a service. This logic removed empathy from decision-making, replacing it with numbers. Over time, success validated the method, and the method hardened into doctrine. As Standard Oil expanded, the rise accelerated through trust structures that masked ownership and centralized control. These legal innovations allowed Rockefeller to command dozens of companies as one organism. Cause led to effect. Secrecy enabled scale. Scale enabled leverage, and leverage rewrote markets. Railroads feared losing business, banks sought stability, and politicians hesitated. Each actor responded rationally to power, but collectively they surrendered it. Rockefeller did not seize authority by force. It was handed to him through incentives. The human cost intensified quietly. Refinery towns faced layoffs when efficiency improved. Suppliers accepted thinner margins to survive. Labor unrest grew, but Standard Oil's insulation meant strikes elsewhere barely touched it. This insulation created moral distance. When consequences are delayed and diffused, responsibility feels abstract. Rockefeller could sincerely donate to churches on Sunday and authorize ruthless pricing on Monday without feeling contradiction. Extreme wealth did not corrupt a single moment. It slowly reorganized perception. The breaking point, therefore, was not just legal, but cultural. Public opinion shifted as Americans realized that choice itself was disappearing. When one company sets prices, wages, and terms, freedom becomes theoretical. The antitrust case symbolized a demand for boundaries. Yet the law focused narrowly on structure, not power. By splitting Standard Oil into regional companies, regulators preserved competition in name, while shareholders preserved dominance in fact. The fallout revealed the failure of partial solutions. Rockefeller's net worth soared, markets stabilized briefly, and the public moved on. Other industries studied the lesson and refined it. Size could be managed, influence diversified, and accountability delayed. The fix had failed because it treated monopoly as a technical glitch rather than a moral hazard. Without addressing incentives, enforcement became a performance. Philanthropy then entered as a social pressure valve. Rockefeller's foundations professionalized giving, measuring outcomes, and scaling impact. Vaccines spread, universities rose, and expertise flourished. These achievements were real and lasting. But they also reframed wealth as benevolence, shifting debate from distribution to generosity. When donors decide priorities, democracy becomes optional. The system thanked benefactors while forgetting beneficiaries. In modern times, failed fixes look similar. Fines become costs of doing business. Breakups create shareholder windfalls. Public apologies follow private expansion. The moral narrative focuses on intentions, not outcomes. Rockefeller's era taught elites how to survive backlash without surrendering power. Technology merely accelerated the pattern, controlled the infrastructure, and used shape reality. Like kerosene once lit homes, algorithms now shape thought. This is Rockefeller's ghost, updated. Understanding this continuity is uncomfortable because it implicates participation. Consumers benefit from low prices. Investors enjoy returns, governments collect taxes. Everyone gains something, while costs hide elsewhere. Extreme wealth persists because it distributes advantages widely enough to mute resistance. Rockefeller understood this intuitively. The final lesson is not cynicism, but clarity. Wealth does not make people evil, but it does magnify incentives beyond human scale. Morality requires friction, limits, and accountability. Without them, even sincere beliefs become justifications. Rockefeller believed he served order. History shows order without justice is fragile. 3 takeaways stand firm. First, concentration of power is a moral issue, not just an economic one. Second, regulation must evolve faster than capital, or it becomes theater. Third, philanthropy should complement fair systems, not replace them. These are not ideological claims. They are historical observations. The open-ended thought remains unresolved by design. Will future Rockefellers be restrained by rules, or praised for gifts after the damage is done? The answer depends on what societies demand before admiration sets in. If this analysis added depth to your understanding, engage with it, question it, and share it. Attention is the first step toward accountability.